Hello Oracles, happy Tesla stock earnings day. So very excited about today. We have been looking forward to this, with the delivery numbers that we got in that were lower than expected. We're looking to see what are we going to come in with today. So today we're going to go over the expectations that analysts have for the stock, what I have predicted for the stock as well, and we'll see what happens with earnings tonight. So it's been extremely crazy busy for me lately. I've got half of my staff out with COVID. The Yankees just won the ALDS. So for you guys who are big Yankees fans, you know that very well, and I promised my son I would take him to a playoff game this year if the Yankees made it. Did not get to make it in the ALDS, so I am taking him to Game 4. So if any of you guys are going to be going to Game 4 this Sunday against Houston, by all means, if you're there and you see me, stop by and say hi, or we can coordinate and say hi. I've also got a big fundraiser going on with Jen Strahan, Warren Redlick, and a few others when it comes to t-shirts and trying to raise money for the families of Ukraine. That link is going to be down in the pinned comment below if you guys want to purchase any merchandise, and the profits of that will go to the families over in Ukraine. All right, so let's get into things now. So I'm going to be having 2 live streams tonight. The first one is going to be for when the numbers actually drop. So I'll be jumping on probably around 4 p.m. Eastern time. I have to find out at work. As long as I have actual staff back, I can actually get on early. So I'll let you guys know for sure. I'll drop that link as soon as I can. And then I will be doing a second one for when they do the earnings call at 5:30 Eastern time. So again, I'll put those links out for you guys to be able to jump on as well. So looking at the expectations that we have for right now, the analyst expectations when it comes to total revenues coming in at $21.8 billion. And my total revenue expectations are $22.5 billion. Total gross profit expectations are $5.6 billion. I have them at $1 billion higher at $6.6 billion. And a big reason behind that is because I have gross margins coming in higher. They have an expectation of 28.5%. I'm expecting 30.2% for automotive gross margin percentage, and that is not with credits. So X credits, the expectations are 27.5%. I'm coming in at 29.6%. And energy, of course, is the next big one we are going to be focusing on. Expectations are $940 million. I have them coming in at $1.5 billion. I do have them breaking that and hitting nearly a 100% quarter-over-quarter growth. Their gross margins they have coming in at 3.2%. I have margins at 5%. They did say that the margins now are the record margins that they have ever seen over there. Of course, margins we know are not very high when it comes to solar and battery storage, but still moving up in that direction is a good start. Got to remember, even years ago, the vehicles were not profitable. So we are now significantly higher than that. Of course, looking at pushing 30%. So looking at energy getting potentially to that level in the future is awesome, and we're already moving in that direction. And then operating margin is the next big one. So we know that they took a big dip last quarter when it came to the margins, just because Shanghai was down for over a month. So that brought it down to 14.6%. So expectations this time around are 16.5%. I have them coming in significantly higher than that. We already know that Berlin was profitable based upon what they told us for the second quarter. So we know that they're going to be profitable again for the third quarter and potentially have Austin be profitable as well. So we could be moving these numbers in the right direction. My numbers come in at 21%. I will be happy with anything over 18%, but those are the numbers that I have right now. So then we have EPS, and EPS numbers have been adjusted a little bit. I guess there were some analysts out there who did not factor in share counts when it came to the stock split. So it looks like the EPS estimates on a GAAP basis are 88 cents and non-GAAP are $1. And it sounds like the whisper number is a little bit over $1. So it was $1.09. I don't know if that brought it down, but so somewhere around that $1.09 mark. I think if we cross that $1.09 mark, we will be in a very strong place. I'm coming in with GAAP EPS at $1.13 and non-GAAP at $1.25. So again, I think anything higher than the $1.09 whisper number is going to be huge for the stock and will move it forward. And as we saw with Netflix last night, looking at guidance, beating the previous guidance and giving us good guidance for the future is going to be important. So we've gone over a bunch of the questions that are going to be asked. And of course, big questions that we want to know about are going to be, are they going to talk about demand over in China? Is there a demand issue? What are their reasonings behind all of this? Why did they have production so much higher than we saw deliveries? Is it because of that wave? Is it because they're trying to smooth things out? If they can clarify that a lot on this call, I think that's going to ease a lot of investors' minds, just because they just don't know for right now. Looking at projections going forward, if anybody watches James Stevenson, you can see his charts showing that this is going to be the natural run of things, and then eventually it will smooth itself out again. So it's just a matter of getting through this initial wave, and it's just a matter of getting rid of this end of the quarter wave that they kept on pushing for, and just not doing that and just running things business as usual. Because Elon said himself that when they do that, they usually end up losing out on service, and the service starts to fail as well. So they don't want any of that. They want a better customer experience, so they're looking to smooth this out. So if they can give us some clarification on that on the call, that would be huge. If we get any information about a buyback tonight, obviously that will be huge for the stock as well. If we get any information about new factories, which Elon has said in the past that these calls are usually not the place to announce that, but he did say that we should be expecting to hear about it by the end of the year. So we're probably going to be hearing about at least one factory, if not two. Maybe we hear about it tonight. Maybe he just kind of gives us some inkling about it. Those of you who have been on enough earnings calls, especially lately, know that this seems like there's usually someone that is sitting there in the room with them like a lawyer, and you can hear when they're starting to say things they shouldn't be saying, and it's almost like they're getting kicked under the table and they're stopping what they're saying. So it's great to get these calls because you can kind of hear what they really want to tell us, and maybe they don't tell us, but we kind of get some inklings of it. So it's pretty nice to see that. So maybe we'll get some of that about a factory coming. Learning about the 4680s and what the ramp pace is for that would be very important to find out tonight as well, because obviously 4680s are a huge component of the company moving forward when it comes to efficiency and cost cutting. So knowing the ramp on that, knowing what vehicles it's going in, is the Semi going to be using the 4680s or the 2170s? Will we find that out tonight? Not sure, but that would be nice to find out as well. And for anyone hoping that we might find out tonight about Twitter and what's going on with that, I highly doubt we're going to be even discussing that, because Twitter is an Elon deal, not a Tesla specific deal, despite the fact that a lot of people make it that way just because of Elon potentially having to sell shares. So we are not going to be finding out about that tonight on the earnings call, but who knows, maybe over the course of the day today we're going to find out that information. Maybe Elon did seal the deal, he's got financial backers, and he doesn't need to sell anything. If that's the case, expect the stock to take off. So the things that we could hear tonight that might move the stock up are going to be a reiteration of the 50% year-over-year growth. This is the first time that we have seen that. That might be in jeopardy this year, just because of all the headwinds that we have been facing, might not hit 50% year-over-year growth when it comes to production and deliveries. But if they can reiterate that with a little more specifics behind it, I think that will move the stock forward as well. If they give us a good explanation as to what the demand is going on over in China, that could help move the stock forward as well. If we hear anything about a buyback, if they discuss the buybacks and how they're going to be doing one, or actually lay out a plan for us, that will definitely be moving the stock up as well. Obviously, beating numbers are going to be big, so looking at the margins alone, that's going to be the big one. Are they beating automotive margins? Are they beating all their operating margins? Are they beating EPS? So those are the three big numbers I'm going to be paying attention to, because that's what could move the stock forward. Secretly, I'm really paying attention to the energy numbers, because that's one that isn't going to move the needle a lot right now, but it will move it significantly in the future. So I really want to focus on the energy side of the business as well for tonight. So those are the things that I'm really looking at. Anything that could pull the stock down, obviously missing numbers, that will not be good. If they come in without a good explanation as to why the demand over in China seems to be waning as it is, that could bring the stock down as well. If their guidance going forward says, hey, we're probably not going to be hitting 50% year over year, and they don't give us a good reason or a plan for it to say, hey, everything's getting pushed off into Q1, we're smoothing things out. If they don't give us a good explanation behind that, that could also pull the stock down. And then, of course, anybody who has been on the earnings call before as well knows that for some weird reason, every time Elon speaks, the stock sells off. It's because Elon speaks to retail investors and not Wall Street investors. Those of us who are in retail get excited when Elon tells us what's going on. We want to know these things. Wall Street's just like, we don't care. Tell us the numbers. Tell us what your business is going to do. Tell us how much money we're going to make, because that's how Wall Street thinks. How much money is Tesla stock going to make them? As retail investors, we think, how is Tesla going to change the world in the future? That's the two different mindsets that we have when it comes to earnings and when it comes to Tesla, and why we see the stock price not always move in the direction that we feel it should be moving as retail investors. And I also wouldn't expect them to talk about any new vehicles that they're going to be coming out with. Elon again has said in the past that this is not the platform to be able to do that on, so they do that at a different time. It really should have its own space and time to be able to give it the full attention that it needs. So we're not probably going to hear about anything like that. It's going to be very much a business-like meeting, and I gotta say, I've been watching these for over a year now, and just Elon himself has grown so much over time on these calls. So I think Wall Street is starting to warm up to how he is, and he's starting to learn how to speak how, Wall Street may want to hear him speak. We know that Elon doesn't really cater to Wall Street whatsoever. He caters to what the mission is, but he's starting to learn to be able to do both. And, a lot of retail investors get upset sometimes because he says things or whatever on these calls that we would rather him not say. Seems like he's working that out. So let me know in the comments below if you guys are excited to have him on the call. What do you think he's going to tell us? What do you think we are going to hear from them tonight? And do you think we are going to see the stock go up or down when it comes to the earnings tonight? Personally, I don't play it because the stock can move one way or the other for whatever reason. As I had said the other day, the craziest things come out and the stock will just move for whatever reason because one little thing wasn't where they wanted it to be. But judging by how Netflix moved yesterday, if Tesla comes in with similar numbers and guidance, I think we could see a potential similar jump, whereas Netflix was up at 12%, we might jump that much as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat, that link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program and a Patreon. Both of those links are also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.